People deluded, I'm back again. Fridays equals Q&A days, man. So before I begin and answer your questions and get right to it, thank you very much for your questions and them things there, man. Without you lot, obviously it cannot continue. Yeah, you guys know I'm probably the most trustworthy guy on YouTube. You guys know I'll never lie to you lot, so I'm never going to sit here and make my own questions. The minute you stop asking me questions, this thing will be done. So yeah, as always, appreciated, man. It doesn't matter if you email it to me, Facebook it, tweet it to me, Instagram DM, regardless, just as long as you're getting the questions in, that's all that matters. And a lot of you have gone through many different channels for that, so thank you very much. Before I start, I need to go under my table and actually get my charger for my laptop. We've got your questions on it, people, because obviously if it dies, we'll be in an issue. We'll have an issue, and yeah, should have really plugged that in before. But let's crack on, man. So a lot of good questions there, so let's not waste time. Alex, big up Alex, man. Between him, Pot Noodle, and a couple other usernames, Bello. You know, every week more bigs. More or less every week I see the same sort of names. Obviously, there's different people, and I'm not saying you have to ask me a question every week or whatever. It's whenever you want to. But after Hail Up the Man, I always see consistently asking a question, man. You lot are the backbone essentially for this thing. But Alex asked, how many players do we need in the summer to win/challenge in the league? You've got a few questions, and that's your first one. It's a difficult one, you know, because on one hand, you look at the Arsenal squad and you do believe a lot of them aren't good enough, but on the other hand, you do believe Unai Emery could get better out of them, which he's doing. And on one hand, you only need a couple. I don't feel we need 11 new players. If you push me and ask me to name it, I'll probably say 3, 4. 3, 4, maybe 5. And yeah, before I say that, obviously, if we were to get a special sort of player, we'll never sign the likes of Messi and Suarez and all these guys, but there's always room for a maverick sort of player. I think we do miss that. I mean, as much as I love Aubameyang, Lacazette and Ozil, none of them are that essentially in that they can score goals and make the difference, but they're not the leaders of the team, but they're not the leaders, if you get what I'm saying. They're not the Messis, and I'm not even talking about Messi's ability in the sense that you put some man in your team. You know, there's some certain clubs in this world, there's certain men that play for certain teams week in, week out. You know they're going to score goals, make the difference, or you know more or less what they're going to do. I don't feel we really have that. We've got Aubameyang and Lacazette who are top class players, and those who are quality players, but there's not that in it. So I do think we need that. Away from that, I do believe to challenge, there's a lot of centre-backs on the books, and options have to be made and decisions have to be made in regards to that. But if you pushed me, I'd say a quality centre-half, a real top quality centre-half. Real top quality centre-half. I would also say, if possible, 2 sets of fullbacks at some capacity, whether they're to compete or start over Bellerin and Monreal. I just feel we need both of them areas. Even more so, we've got a somewhat of a crisis. I mean, Jenkinson, Lichtstein, and yeah, there are only 2 fit fullbacks essentially this season. So yeah, we know we need another left back, and I do believe we could do with a right back for times when this happens with Bellerin. Yes, Lichtstein is still there, but you get the point, people. Also, so I said centre back, full back, so centre back, right back, left back. I thought we needed a centre mid anyways, so you could say there's a case for 2 centre mids, but let's keep it simple. There's a case for another centre mid in the event of Ramsey leaving. In what capacity, I don't know, because immediately Ramsey's strengths are more going forward. I feel when you look at Emil, Nelson, Iwobi, Mkhitaryan, Ozil, there's quite a few players that could play in that role that Ramsey seems to play when he plays for Arsenal. The only time I've seen him play in the pivot here is when he played against Blackpool yesterday night. So yeah, you could say with that being said, and them lot filling in that role, we could sign another defensive mid to help Torreira to shut out games, God forbid. But if Torreira ever gets injured, we look extremely open. Or just another sort of centre mid with different different strengths and stuff like that to enhance what we've got in terms of our midfield client options, essentially. A bit of a high grade for me would be Ndombele of Lyon. He's an excellent ball player. He can win the ball back. He's probably rough around certain edges, but I'd probably like someone like that. We can't afford him, and we missed out. We should have signed him when he played for Mans, but allegedly was scared about first team football. So I've said centre half, right back, left back, centre mid. And I've already said winger. By the same logic of me saying in regards to Ramsey's position, as well as being able to play in the 10, Emil, Nelson, Iwobi, all of these players can play out wide. But I do think if we could sign a real winger, person, the back in the throwback days of the wingers, when wingers wanted to be wingers and get white chalk on their boots and continuously take someone on. Similar to, it would be Mahrez for me. I know he comes inside a lot and he can play as a 10, but we know when he wants to take someone on. Someone of that skill set is just something I would like to see at my club. So probably them sort of signings there, if we can't get the best out of what we have available, would make me believe, like, if we had that in August before the season starts, we've got everything on top of, Emery and everything, then I would sit here and say, all right, cool, we can challenge for the title or maybe even win it. But until then, can't share that, my guy. You've also said, do you prefer the self-sustaining model that Arsenal currently operate under? Clubs like PSG and United have spent enormous amounts of money in the transfer market and have not come close to winning the League or Champions League in recent years. I think you're a bit off with PSG, but I get the point you made. PSG's issues are tactically. They need that next manager that can improve them tactically in the big games. You've seen them come up short against Barcelona. And to be honest, with Tuchel, I mean, anything can happen. But on the games I've seen with PSG, they're way too open. And I always thought there was a midfield problem and defensive issues. I still think that when I look at that compared to the other giants. So I share that. They probably need that. Same way United need direction. They've got the money. They've tried Moyes, they've tried Jose, and it's not happening. I think they need a trainer coach, which was spoken about in vids. Someone that, while it'd be great to spend the money, and I advocate spending the money, he's spending the money to like directly improve his side, not just spending it for the sake of it. He's trying to work with what he has. He's trying to implement some sort of football and stuff like that first and foremost, and then the money just being a bonus. And that's how it should be. First and foremost, of course, any club, any business would like to be self-sustaining. Everyone craves that. That's the only way to keep afloat. So I'd like to stay self-sustaining, but obviously, you guys know me. I'd like us to improve within the contract, selling players on and things like that. I want us to be self-sustaining, but money's available when a player of quality is available, to be honest with you, my guy. I'm not saying we should be able to spend 300 million, but if a quality player is available for 50 or something like that, 60, and he undoubtedly improves our squad, then I want us to be in a position where we can do that. So, yeah. Pot Noodle asks is another consistent one. Do you think that a Kanji guy from Dortmund could be an adequate replacement for Koscielny? From what I've seen, he looks like a fairly good defender and good in recovery challenge, just like Lolo Koscielny. My guy, I've made a vid on him. Yes, he still has problems concentrating, in my opinion, and I actually like Darlow as well, but I can't believe nobody took advantage when he was at Basel. And to be honest, I get onto us, considering we saw El Nene there. But yeah, man, good question, and that's my answer in short. Rax asks is it time for Arsenal to start buying from League 1/Championship again? I advocate anywhere, bro. If we can find players in Somalia, if we can find players in Jamaica, if we can find players in Ghana, if we can find players on Tottenham High Road, anywhere you can find good enough players, I advocate that. I see what you mean, because I made a vid about that, how it looks like we're moving away from that. But scout everywhere, my guy, especially because we ain't got no money, so scout everywhere. You said, you've also asked, do you think racism in scouting still exists? Well, in a world where we've heard pundits and coaches say black defenders struggle to defend, concentrate in defence for high periods of time. We've also seen, not to dig West Ham out, but we've seen in regards to the African players, stuff, emails and things like that. We've seen it with Malky Mackay as well. So these lot of coaches, so definitely scouts and stuff that they liaise with to a degree, share these same problems, man, to be honest with you. So, yeah. So yeah, man, definitely to a degree. Surely, yeah. What else have you asked? Someone asked. Antonio Banks, another consistent one. What are your thoughts on Toussaint of Genk? Haven't seen too much of him, my guy. I mean, he's got good technical ability from what I've seen, and I've seen Southampton and Celtic linked with him, so he must be half decent. But I ain't watched 10 games to be giving you an informed opinion. Yeah, Pot Noodles also asks, since we have been getting better in the second half this season, would you say that our success is down to more fitness of our players compared to last season, more so than Emery's tactics? Not saying he isn't a good manager. I'm not saying that. It's just a thought that crossed my mind. I thought I'd get an opinion of someone who knows better. Bro, I don't know better or any least than you. I'm just a football fan, and I see where you're coming from. But personally, I would say it's probably, well, you are right, because statistically we are running more. We've actually run more than Liverpool. You wouldn't have thought that, and they've passed more than us. So yeah, I'd say we've still got teething problems, and I can't exactly give you an answer. But I'd say Emery's tactics does save us. You've seen the substitutions and alterations he's made in games to help us get leads and stuff like that. So I'd say yes. I'd say it's more so him on top of his tactics, I'd say more so him installing some sort of fighting or some sort of whatever I don't know what drink he's giving them at half time, my guy, but I'd say it's more so that. So yeah, good question, man. And I definitely see where you're coming from, my guy, for sure. Biggs has asked, we said Wenger did everything, even Steve Bowles' job. Now that Wenger is gone, should we still keep Bowles? Yeah, man, Bowles he's someone that the players have known for a while. He can act as a mouthpiece or a trusted lieutenant of Unai Emery, and he's a good coach in his own right. And he's happy to see him smiling, and he's ex-Arsenal, so he's always got a role with me anyways. So I advocate keeping him, man. There's no need to force it out. Aaron's asked, do you know much about Edmondson Jr.? Isn't that the lad that's of Belgium/Brazilian heritage that's playing somewhere in the Far East? I think Qatar. Haven't got extensive knowledge on him, my guy, but yeah, that's all I know on him. Bilal's asked, how many centre-halves out there do you think could have the same effect on our defence like Van Dijk? Now, Van Dijk's a good defender. If you're asking me if I know any players that would sit there and make me think, okay, we can actually be increasingly better in defence, Darlow, even though he's rough around the edges, mainly with his heading, Akanji with his positioning, centre-halves of that nature would be people I'm looking for. Dark horse would be that lad from Getafe, the African centre-half, can't remember his name, he looks decent, and Poch is a big fan of his. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Why has the internet just come up on this now? I need the Q&A questions, not this. Apologies, people, what the hell? Yeah, I'm back. So yeah, Tariq asks, big up my guy. Top 3 managers outside Premier League. I'd say Rafa Benitez for me would be one. Nuno of Wolves would be a second. And I'm gonna go with Lampard of Derby. I rate them very highly, man. So yeah, that put me on the spot, but they're the ones. You've also asked me how many kids do I want. I'm not too sure on that, my guy. I just want to blow and deluded first. You've also said, what's your best technical attribute as a footballer? I'd probably say comfortable under pressure. Like at fullback, I didn't panic. I'd actually say my passing, to be fair. I'm not no Cesc Fabregas, but I'd say my passing if you're talking about a technical aspect, and a Cruyff turn. So yeah. Main man Uber, another consistent one. Thoughts on Meret, the goalkeeper? I think he's alright. I haven't been paying attention as much, but yeah. You've also said, should we play 4-4-2 with Mkhitaryan and Iwobi as the wingers and Lacazette and Oba up front? If you want me to, I actually make that into a whiteboard thing, but I'd say yes, but the main problem would be the midfielders and if they're playing in a pivot, but it's definitely something we should consider and have considered. It's a good shout and I'd be open to it, my guy. Julius has asked, what's Ramsey's best position? What are your tactical and technical reasons he doesn't fit into Unai Emery's plans? Well, I think Ramsey's best centre mid, and he plays well wherever he can play well there. The problem probably is because he's not able to dictate tempo to what Unai Emery wants to see, and he's probably not as balanced. His strengths are to run forward and get on behind the last man. Maybe that leaves a gap that Unai Emery doesn't like. All the others are better in position than him, so that's probably the tactical reasons he doesn't play. Xhaka, you see all the statistics we're building out from the back, and you actually see when Xhaka's out of the side what he brings. So that's why he's there. I don't need to tell you why Torreira's there. Guendouzi looks a promising prospect, and they all offer they're all better technical and tactical fits in terms of what Arsenal need from a central midfielder, sadly, than Aaron Ramsey at the moment in time. This is why he plays in the 10 role, where many people thought if he was given freedom, like especially under Arsene Wenger, that he would run riot and be that Frank Lampard 20 goals a season sort of midfielder, and it hasn't quite happened. So that would be it for me. And you've put, is it crazy to play Ramsey false 9? I mean, we're all crazy, my guy. That's definitely crazy, GG. None of that. But yeah. Biggs has also asked, can we pull a Southgate and allow Liverpool to have possession and hit them on the counter, as we're really good on the counter? You could say yes, my guy, but I don't want us to sit back against Liverpool to a degree. I want us to have a goal, to be fair. So yeah, AL's finally asked, what about your football scout career? I mean, if someone wants to pay for my qualifications or give me a bringing, which you need to get this, I need a club or someone to take a chance on me and say, look, come, let's look at these players. Come with me up the road and let's watch these games. So I'm all for that, and I'm still pursuing that, my guy. So we're still out here trying, man. It doesn't matter what it is, I need to make it in something. So yeah, I think I've answered everybody's questions. So people, thank you very much. I really enjoyed that. Guys, deluded, comment, subscribe, and do the rest if you wish. I'm out.